We're now joined by Missouri State Representative from Springfield, Sarah Lampy.
Coach Ken Carter. How you doing today, Coach?
Sound like a cool dude. I just would like to shake your hand.
Gosh, a minute ago, you're ready to kick my ass.
He's Kevin Slayton. Now, all rise for the King's Court on 590 The Man.
On the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round, and they gazed in wide wonder at the joy they had found.
And a good Thursday afternoon, St. Louis. Kevin Slayton with you in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court. Coming your way on 590 The Man and streaming live at TalkSTL.com. TalkSTL.com is where you can catch us on your laptops, on your computers, on your telephones, in your car on your phones, taking us anywhere you want with a crystal clear signal. Our lines are always open at 314-399-8923. We're live at the Tilted Kilt today in St. Charles. We're off Highway 94 in Country Club Plaza. 45 flat-screen HD TVs. Any football game or baseball game you want to find, any soccer game, whatever. If it's on TV, they can reel it in here with their array of satellites. And in addition, you get to feast your eyes on the beautiful Tilted Kilt girls. All in all, it can't be beat. And on Sundays, every NFL Sunday, breakfast is served at 10 in the a.m. So you can get a brunch, breakfast, great omelets right here at the Tilted Kilt for your NFL football Sundays.
Will John Bonzoff be there?
John Bonzoff III will not show up today. And he won't be here on Sunday. After all, John Bonzoff III, nerd that he is, would not dare set foot in a place with beautiful women. So the hell with him. But Brian Boehringer will be on with us, coming with 320 to preview the divisional series. Now that they're all set after that pounding the Pirates took, surprisingly, at the hands of the Giants. I'm not surprised that Bumgarner outpitched Edinson Volquez because I've never been a big Volquez fan, but I am shocked that the Pirates did nothing with Bumgarner. Bumgarner's a hell of a pitcher, but he isn't that good. That's one of the best pitching performances I've ever seen in the postseason. Here's the thing that does bother me. Why in the world do the Giants, and to some extent the Royals, celebrate with champagne after they won a play-in game?
I don't get it.
No, these guys need to grow up a little bit. You didn't win anything. That's not a championship of any sort.
Let's get some hookers and some Coke and go crazy.
Now you're talking, Dr. Phil. But they won nothing. They didn't win a championship of any kind. They didn't clinch anything. They get to play another round after winning one game. Well, what's with the champagne? Especially the Giants. They've won 2 of the last 4 World Series. I mean, the Royals haven't even been in the playoffs in almost 30 years, so you can almost understand it. But even still, you haven't won. And those players didn't wait 30 years, by the way. The fans did. Fans want to drink some champagne? Have at it. But you didn't win anything.
Oh, dear Lord, please make it stop.
When did that stuff get started? We start popping champagne when you haven't won anything.
What the hell's going on out here?
Thank you, Coach Vince. I don't think you should be popping champagne until you win the National League or the American League. So you should be drinking champagne twice. When you win your league championship and when you win the World Series. If you want to stretch it out one step further, when you win your division, I can handle that. But that's it. Clinching a wild card game, winning a wild card game, winning a division series.
You're not that good.
That's not a championship of any kind. When did this annoying habit begin? It's the same with these walk-off hits. You get a hit in the 9th inning of a game in May, and everybody's running out onto the field. You didn't win anything. You won a ball game. Big deal. It's so juvenile, I can hardly take it. Celebrate when you win a championship. See, that's the watering down of America. Nobody's goals are set high enough anymore. Well, we won a ball game last night. Let's break out the champagne. Or an ice cold Pabst Blue Ribbon. Now, if they were drinking PBR instead of that cheap champagne that they serve in those locker rooms, and boy, it is cheap, I can understand it. Instead of drinking that rot gut stuff, get some PBR in your locker room. But unless you win a championship, you shouldn't be celebrating anything. Telling you, it's annoying. So we shouldn't be seeing.
What the hell are you doing?
We shouldn't be seeing any champagne now for quite a while, but we will be. Looking at the division series between the Tigers and the Orioles, at one point I thought it would be a sweep for the Tigers. I'm not so sure now. That bullpen, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning of Baltimore's in this age of specialization is almost unhittable. It's like the Cardinal bullpen last year, unlike the Cardinal bullpen this year, but very similar to the Cardinal bullpen of a year ago. They've got guys who are almost unhittable. So if they can get the lead after 6 innings, it's very likely the Orioles win it. And against Verlander in Game 2, they may well have the lead. Not so sure about tonight with Scherzer, actually this afternoon at 4:30. David Price in Game 3, but in Game 2, Verlander's extremely vulnerable. He's only a shadow of what he used to be. So they can talk all they want about 3 straight Cy Young winners coming at you. You really only have 2 right now. Verlander may be done. I mean, he's certainly on the downslide. He's on the backside of the mountain. His earned run average almost 5 this year. Yeah, it's not good. So it may be more competitive than I thought. I looked at it originally at first glance with the Orioles losing Machado and the drug-popping Davis out of their lineup. That's 2 big guns out of their lineup. And I thought that would be troublesome. On the flip side, the Cardinals play the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have 2 guys back in their lineup that they didn't have last year when the Cardinals beat them in 6 games. They have Hanley Ramirez. Kelly plunked in Game 1 last year, and he was never a factor. And they have Matt Kemp back and hitting well. Had a torrid September. So the Dodgers have added offense to their team coming into that series, and the Cardinals have subtracted offense, especially when it comes playoff time in Beltran and Freese. Last year, when the Cardinals won in 6 games against the Dodgers, Beltran led the team in RBIs with 6, and Freese was second with 4. And remember, in addition to his 4 RBIs, Freese also had an extra base hit off Kershaw and scored the only run in the Cardinals' 1-0 win against Kershaw in Game 2. This is when the trade of David Freese for Burgess and Grichuk will probably show up the most as an adverse trade to the Cardinals. It's postseason, and even if Freese wasn't hitting for a high average in last year's postseason, his hits were resoundingly loud. Game-winning home run against the Pirates in Game 5 of that series. Bases loaded hit against the Pirates in Game 1 of that series. The aforementioned 4 RBIs and a run scored against Kershaw in the Dodgers series. So while it wasn't 2011, it was still a very good postseason for Freese in terms of his clutch hitting. He's gone. And Bernie wrote an interesting column about Holiday's time to step up into the sunshine and perform and carry a team. We'll see if he can. Remember the guys who've been around Holiday since he's been a Cardinal in the postseason. At one time or another, there was Pujols, Berkman, Freese, and Craig. In 2011, Holiday had all 4 of them. 2012, he had Freese and Craig. 2013, he had Freese, Craig, and Beltran. And in 2012, he had Freese, Craig, and Beltran. This year, he has none of those 4, or 5 when you throw Beltran in. Neither Freese, nor Pujols, nor Berkman, nor Craig, nor Beltran. If you're wondering what you might expect from Holiday in the playoffs, Well, here's what he's given you as a Cardinal in 48 games. 48 playoff games, 200 plate appearances, 249 average, 7 home runs. That's a home run every 7 games. 23 RBIs. That's not even an RBI every 2 games. And 8 doubles. It's about 1 every 7 games. No, 1 every 6 games. And with runners in scoring position, 222. If you're expecting big things from Holiday, a pretty good sampling so far, 48 games, shows you that he hasn't come through. In addition, that was with all the protection in the lineup that I just talked about. He has 0 protection of that caliber in this lineup. So we'll see how they pitch to him. It could be interesting. Kevin Segrist won't be around to watch, though, unless he's watching on TV. Cardinals left him off of their postseason roster. But think about that. One of the most important guys in your bullpen a year ago, and due to injury and, I suppose, mitigating factors since he came back from the injury of just not being as good, he's now out, off the roster, left off the roster. 399-8923 if you want to weigh in. How about Billy Beane coming out right away and defending his ill-begotten trades at the trade deadline and before? He says, simply put, if we don't have John Lester, I don't think we make the playoffs. That's interesting, since at the time he traded Cespedes, the A's had the best record in the league, in major leagues. That would have taken a monumental collapse. They also had the best ERA at the time. He claims they were trending in a different direction. Now, the only way he could say that is if he has a crystal ball, because they weren't trending anywhere but up. They were simply breezing through their schedule at the time. The offense was prolific until just after that trade. Then they went into a very long funk. And when they traded for Samardzija Hamel, they were first in the league in earned run average. Beane said, we weren't going to stay there. We knew that. Our job is to try and correct things before they become a problem. And some of the problems we had, we could see coming. Well, I don't understand that comment whatsoever. But you didn't get 2 guys that helped your earned run average. Samardzija and Hamel were nothing special. And then they traded away a pitching prospect, Nolan Sandburn, for Adam Dunn. And he's retiring. Lester won't be back. He claims he saw the Angels getting hot and they were going to catch us. Well, you can say that now. Didn't seem like that at the time, though. What I didn't reveal was that I was also concerned about us, which was the point of the trades. It's not where you are, it's where you're headed. And I like to think, being here every day, I have a feel for where we're headed. Well, maybe you do, but not this year. I heard Donovan McNabb on the NBC Sports Network prior to our show saying that he believes Lester will go to the Cubs. I don't think there's a chance on this that he goes to the Cubs. Why would the Cubs want an aging left-handed pitcher when all of their progress is geared toward young players? Now, I do believe that they will tap into some free agents this offseason so that they can have them in place for the following year when these young players mature, but that would not include John Lester. He doesn't fit that mold. So odd stuff coming from Billy Beane today as the A's start their preparations a bit earlier than they thought for next season. So you've got San Francisco and the Nationals, the Cardinals and the Dodgers, and in the American League, the Tigers and the Orioles, and, of course, the Royals go to the Angels. Some fun series if you ask me. Some great college football tonight. Arizona's at Oregon. It's a rematch of last year when Oregon was soundly thumped by Arizona in Arizona. And a very intriguing matchup in the NFL this weekend. Kansas City goes to San Francisco, where Alex Smith will get to play against his former team and former coach, who dealt him away after Smith's fantastic play did not merit him his job after he suffered a concussion. Harbaugh gave it to Kaepernick. Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers says no to his playoff bonus. I mean, the guy makes about $25 million a year. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to jump up and down and say what a great guy he is. He says, I just want the ring. Max Scherzer was walking around the clubhouse with a chart for people to sign so that they'd be eligible for their playoff bonus, which last year for the Red Sox, the winning share was $307,000 a guy. So it's not a small sum. But the thing that troubled me most is certainly not Miguel Cabrera's reaction saying, I don't want my bonus, I just want a ring. Max Scherzer's response to that, Scherzer has proven himself to be every bit the mercenary when he turned down the $145 or $160 million contract in the offseason. That wasn't good enough for Max Scherzer. His response to Cabrera's rejection of a playoff bonus, good, that's more for us. How about that guy? I'm ashamed to say he's from St. Louis. What a greedy, money-grubbing, typical professional athlete of the day Max Scherzer is.
That guy is a jerk.
I make $15, $20 million right now. I want more. I mean, that was a pathetic response. I mean, you'd think the answer would have been, well, good for you, Miguel. But, okay, that's more for us. It's pretty flabbergasting to me. So we'll see. Scherzer gets his chance to get more tonight. He opens the series for the Tigers in Baltimore against the Orioles. All right, former Yankee and Padre, 2 World Series appearances, and now an Arizona Diamondback scout, Brian Boehringer, joins us after the break here in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC to talk about all of these divisional series. And if you're driving around just before the rain hits out there, you might want to stop at the nearest locally owned Taco Bell and grab the quesarito. That's their newest entry on the menu, but they can also make it easy on your pocketbook. They've got the Crave menu, the $1 Crave menu, 11 different items for just $1 a piece at Taco Bell right now. Go there right now. Also, the Doritos Locos Tacos, they've got everything that's always on the menu. They've just changed. They're always innovating. They changed it around a little bit. They're innovating. The Doritos Locos Tacos, the classic Taco Bell on the inside, the shell made of real nacho cheese Doritos. Got all your favorites, the bean burrito, the taco salad, everything. Their breakfast club is phenomenal. The AM Crunch Wrap, the waffle taco, the AM Grilled Taco, the sausage flatbread melt, the regular breakfast burrito, the steak and egg burrito, which is the finest combination of burrito I've ever had in my life. And then those Cinnabon Delights. Pack them up in boxes, take them to work. You're the hero of your office. But you can only do that at Taco Bell. It's the best fast food menu in America. And I prefer locally owned businesses, so I support them in locally owned restaurants. Taco Bell's in Washington, Union, St. Clair, Chesterfield Valley, another one in Chesterfield on Olive. In Illinois, in Columbia, Jerseyville, Salem, Carbondale, the home of the Salukis, Waterloo, and Troy, Illinois. That's Taco Bell, locally owned restaurants. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Brian Boehringer joins us here in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court, live from the Tilted Kilt in St. Charles.
When you need work done on your home, who do you call? A big major contractor? Some no-name guy with a sign on his truck? Or a locally owned business with 21 years experience in the area you can trust? CBS Construction will come out and give you a free estimate for the job you want done, specializing in roofs and exteriors, CBS Construction can make the home improvement process easy and a finished product you can trust and be proud of. Call 314-723-0177 today. That's 314-723-0177.
You made it way, way up here. Everybody's invited, but there's only one way up. Pinnacle Vodka. Welcome to the top. It's not velvet rope and reserved for total soup bags. You can feel it, touch it, taste it. We saved you a seat at the bar of infinite possibility. Up here, anything can happen. Pinnacle Vodka. It's more fun on top.
Fall is the best time of year to golf in the STL. The weather is enjoyable and the courses are ready for you. Hopefully you have figured out those flaws in your game. Making a tee time is as easy as checking out the course of interest. Click, pay, and save $10 for using golfaroundstl.com. Go to one of the many courses that subscribe to golfaroundstl.com on their website. Choose your tee time and enter the code 590. That's 590 and get $10 off your game. It's that simple. Golfaroundstl.com tee times must be scheduled within 7 days of the reservation. Use the 590 code and the discount will be applied at the pro shop when you check in for your round. This offer cannot be used with any other promotion and you must have your reservation at the time of check-in. Any question about the service can be directed to golfer at midwestgolfnetwork.com. Golfaroundstl.com saves you time and money. Try it today.
When heading into the Cards playoff game Monday, look for the people handing out free samples of What-A-Ya Nuts. What-A-Ya Nuts are delicious and come in 4 flavors. Get your free bag of What-A-Ya Nuts on the south side of the stadium. 2 hours to game time while supplies last. You can then get What-A-Ya Nuts at Deerberg's, Schnucks, and Straub's. What-A-Ya Nuts, get your free sample bag Monday before the Cards take on the Dodgers.
Darren Yates is finding it very difficult to deal with Donnie Blake in real life. Howie's not as hung. Andrew is eating too much, and Stacy needs to stop getting laid. So it's time. The Darren Yates Show returns to 1380DX on Wednesday, October 1st in their new time slot, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. weekdays. Your lunch hour will never be the same. We're sorry, or you're welcome.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away.
Please remove those hats. You're in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court on 590 The Main.
And we welcome you back into the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court, live at the Tilted Kilt in St. Charles. Kevin Slayton with you on 590 The Man and streaming live on TalkSTL.com. Here at the Tilted Kilt, they're getting geared up for a big football night and baseball night. You've got 2 baseball playoff games beginning at 4:30. You've got college football. You've got NFL football. Now, how can you watch them all? At the Tilted Kilt, where they have 45 flat-screen HD TVs, 4 on each side of the bar. So you can watch all 4 of those games, even if they were going on at the same time. The first baseball game will be over before the rest of that action gets going. But you've got it all right here at the Tilted Kilt. All right, we welcome our good friend, our baseball expert, Brian Bollringer, to the show. Bo, how you doing today?
Doing good. How are you, King?
I'm doing well. Did that outcome last night surprise you at all?
No, well, the only thing that surprised me is the final score. I knew Baumgartner was going to come out and throw a nice game, but I never would have thought that the Giants would be able to score that many runs. But you know, they came alive with that grand slam, and you know that kind of was the last nail in the coffin, actually.
Yeah, when you're pitching in a playoff game and you get a grand slam behind you, I would imagine that gives you a good kick in the pants and a nice little comfort zone, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. The comfort zone's always the key place to go when you're in the playoffs.
And I'm like you. I was very surprised by the score. I figured Baumgartner would pitch better than Volquez, but I didn't think the Pirates would get shut out. But that was as good a playoff performance by Baumgartner as I've seen from a pitcher.
Yeah, you could just see how relaxed he was, how the ball was coming out of his hand real nice. And it was almost like he was sitting in a rocking chair and didn't have a care in the world. That's how easy he made it look. So, you know, you love watching pitching performances like that. And, we believe we're going to see one on Friday night when we see Wainwright and Kershaw also. So let's wait and see.
Before we get to those division series, the Royals win over the A's the other night. To me, it was marked by horrific managing. Ned Yost, and Ron Darling, by the way, is a phenomenal analyst. When Yost yanked Shields, Darling said, I'm always amazed at how managers do things in the playoffs they never do in the regular season, and they put their players in a position in the playoffs that they never put them in the regular season. And that's exactly what Yost did, and yet the Royals were able to come back. What a throwback team to the Cardinals teams of the 80s with all that speed, 7 steals, and I love watching them play.
I think the most incredible thing was the 7 steals were by 7 different players. And when you put pressure on a defense like that, it really livens up your offense and livens up the crowd. It was kind of disgusting me. I happened to have on ESPN for a second, and an analyst on there actually said, God, I hope we don't have to see a month of this small ball baseball. And I was thinking, this is the most exciting type of baseball there is. Keep the fan in the game every pitch, because you're sitting there watching, wondering, hey, is he going on this pitch? Hey, is he going on that pitch? Are they going to hit and run? Are they going to bunt? What are they going to do here? To me, that's, the beauty of the game, unlike sitting back like tonight. I think this Detroit game against Baltimore is, to me, is I won't call it boring baseball, but it's just like a sit and wait type baseball, in that they're all going to be sitting waiting for the home run, because that's what Baltimore's offense is geared around, is hitting home runs. And Detroit's is pretty much the same way. It's fun to watch a Carrera hit, but sometimes it's also painful to watch these guys swing and miss so much.
Well, I think you hit it right on the button with this game. It's much more fun. The essence of baseball is bunting, hitting and running, stealing bases, getting in scoring position, getting the big hits. If every now and then you pop one over the boards, fine. But unfortunately, to me, that's not exciting baseball. Exciting baseball is this. Was there anything more exciting that I've ever seen in my life than David Freese's triple driving home 2 runs in Game 6 of the World Series? That wasn't a home run, but that was the most exciting play in baseball, a triple.
That's you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say triple by far is the most exciting play in baseball. The reason I think it is now, too, is because it's almost a beauty. When I was at the All-Star game and I saw D. Gordon run the bases, to me, that was the most exciting thing about that All-Star game, was watching him round the bases. He just ran. It was like poetry in motion. And to me, also, that triple is the most exciting play, because it's almost like every time you see him motoring towards second and the possibility for going for third, you always see the fans stand up and yell, 3! Like they, like they know what's happening. So to me, by far, that is the most exciting play offensively in baseball.
And as a former pitcher, Bo, when you look at Jared Weaver tonight pitching against those Royals, once they get on base, not only does it put pressure on the defense, but the pitcher has to feel it too.
Oh, it definitely takes the pitcher out of his comfort zone a lot of times, because instead of using your leg kick to maybe a 1.4 going to home plate, now you're thinking to yourself, man, I got to be quicker and give my catcher time to throw him out at second. Also, it changes your pitch selection, because a lot of times, if you watch catchers, a lot of times they will switch to a lot more fastballs in that situation, which obviously can create better hitting situations for the hitter at the plate. So it does say, to me, it's twofold, like I said, in that you're taking a pitcher out of his comfort zone by making him be quicker to the plate, and you're also taking him out of and making him go to a different pitch selection that he normally wouldn't go to also.
Yeah, that's a great point. And these guys, these Royals, they're not content if they're on second base. They're liable to take third on you if you're not paying attention, as they did the other night in the biggest play of the game in the 9th inning.
Oh, there's no doubt. Watching what they were doing, even when they were behind, it's like everybody said, it's reminiscent of Whitey ball, and it's just so much more exciting to see guys it's like they want to try and score instead of sitting back and waiting to score. And I just like seeing that aggressiveness. Like I said, it puts a little more pressure on the defense, and definitely puts more pressure on the pitcher, because it's in his mind, hey, I got to be quicker to the plate, and maybe I can't throw a breaking pitch in the dirt here. Maybe I can't get away with throwing too many changeups. And to me, it's just, one of those things that I think is very underrated in the game right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you see these teams in the playoffs, they're the only ones that do that. Now, the Giants won't score a lot of runs. They'll get clutch hits, but the Royals are the only running team. And it'll be interesting to watch them against this Angel team, which makes its money on offense. And I mentioned earlier that Matt Holliday, for the first time in his career as a Cardinal, will be the guy in their offense. He's got to carry them. There's no Pujols, there's no Freese, there's no Berkman, there's no Craig, there's no Beltran for the very first time. And last year against the Dodgers, Freese had 4 RBIs, Beltran had 6. Can he do this in this series? Is he capable of carrying their offense?
Well, I think we're going to have to see Matt Adams step up also, and he's very capable of that. He hits the ball with gaps, and he'll find his power stroke every now and then. And you're hoping that in this series that he can find his power stroke again and take some of that pressure off Holiday. But the way Holiday's swinging the bat right now, you're hoping he can continue it. I know they got this long layoff in between the last game of the season and the first game, but you hope he can focus and stay locked in like he is, and hopefully he'll be able to, if he can, carry this club, because you're going to have guys like Carpenter that are going to get on base a lot, and you're going to have Adams who's hopefully going to be able to pick up anything that Holiday leaves behind, because Molina's struggling a little bit right now. I don't think he's seeing the ball as well as he can, but you just never know in these short series. Guys can catch fire, like David Ortiz last year. He was one shift away from probably not even having a good series. If they weren't playing a shift and he got that cheap hit, you could just see his confidence level go up. And you just hope that with the Cardinals that somebody gets that spark and gets that cheap hit, and it propels them to have a good series and maybe help carry this team throughout this series.
And interestingly enough, Molina has not hit a home run since he came back from the disabled list, and only 8 doubles. So it seems that the power is gone, and I wonder if that's just due to the layoff or if that thumb is bothering him.
Well, I think that those thumb injuries are a really tough thing to come back from, and both Brandon Phillips and him came back at almost the exact same time. And Phillips also lost a little power, but he has a little more power than Molina, so he did hit some home runs there toward the end. But it just makes you wonder, as an athlete, you're wanting to get out there and play. I know Molina loves this game, and he's such a competitor, especially since he's gotten away from Pujols. So I think you can see the attitude change and how his averages went up, and how he really it just shows how much he loves the game to me. And I think being the competitor that he is, he may have rushed it back a little quick, hoping to come back and help this team as much as he can. And you just wonder, these 4 days, I'm hoping maybe gave him some rest on that, and maybe was able to strengthen a little more. And hopefully, he can get going in these playoffs also, because he's fun to watch when he's at the plate. Because he's one of those guys, you don't know if he's swinging first pitch. Sometimes he's standing there and takes it. Other times he's jumping all over it, depending on the mood he's in. And when he's hot, he's fun to watch.
I mentioned the Cardinals have had success against Kershaw more than any other team in the league. Last year in the playoffs, they beat him twice. The 1-0 game, which certainly no fault of Kershaw's, but then they won the 9-0 clincher against him. And here he comes, either hell-bent on revenge or wondering in the back of his mind, how do these guys hit me?
I think he's going to come out lights out, unfortunately, for the Cardinals, because I think he has something to prove, especially last year. And what nobody realizes, I think, is that he was on 3 days rest in that last start. Now, and I think the reason nobody realized it is because he was a man and he stood up, and he never once used that as an excuse. And that's what you love, is that he came out and took the ball and did that. But I think the Cardinals are going to see a different Kershaw this time around. But it does seem that when a team has a pitcher's number, that it's always tougher to pitch against them. So, who knows? They may have more success against him, even though he may be locked in. Because last year, if you remember in that game also, it was a lot of cheaper hits to start out, and then they really got around to hitting them. Because once you get those cheaper hits, it's tough as a pitcher to keep throwing and be like, God, that should have been an out. And I can't believe I didn't get an out there. And it gets real frustrating. So, who knows? The Cardinals may be able to get to him like they have last year, even though he's locked in, because I thought he was locked in the game where they scored a lot of runs. It's just they got a lot of cheap hits, and, it just happened to fall that way, and all of a sudden you could see he just kind of lost his confidence over that. And, you just these playoffs are fun to watch because you never know what's going to happen. is like somebody told me the other day, oh, I told you the A's were gonna lose that game. It's like, yeah, like you knew that was going to happen when you just saw.
Right.
You know, there's no such thing as a baseball expert. You can analyze what goes on and analyze who you think are better players, but other than that, I mean, baseball's so unpredictable. That's what makes it fun to watch.
And I think that's why Vegas doesn't book nearly as many bets and as much money as it does on football and basketball. Baseball's way too unpredictable. For instance, in the other National League Series, you've got the Giants fresh off their win last night. They go to Washington to play the Nationals, best record in the National League this year. And the Giants have to send, after Bumgarner's gem, Jake Peavy to the mound. Now, most people probably thought Peavy was out of baseball. He was 1-9 with the Red Sox this year before they got rid of him. And then with the Giants, he turned it around. 4.72 earned run average with the Red Sox, 6-4, 2.17 with the Giants. He'll be ready to go.
Yeah, sometimes what people don't recognize is they always say pitcher's in control of what pitch he throws. But when you're sitting there and you can feel you're not in sync with your catcher, you just have a really bad feeling when you're out there on the mound. Even though you can shake and go to any pitch, it gets frustrating at times because when you're locked in with your catcher, all it is you basically grabbing the ball and throwing because he already knows what you want to throw. And I think Jake had that problem up there in Boston is that he just could never get in sync with the catcher and was just really frustrated. It just seems like now that he's here in San Fran that he's really comfortable now. He's throwing the ball really well. And Jake's a really nice guy. And that's what's funny is like people always ask me, oh, you're rooting for the Giants and you play for them? It's like, no, I root for players now. What I like watching certain guys perform. And Jake's one of them because he's a competitor. He gives you everything he has. And sometimes, you come out of a losing end. But, there's just certain guys I like to watch, and he's definitely one of them.
I'll tell you a guy I like, too, is a guy who seems to bounce a little bit, but when he's in the playoffs, he seems to pitch very well. Here for the Nationals, here's how deep their starting rotation is, Bo. He's starting Game 4, and he was 16-6 with a 2.41 earned run average.
Yeah, it's just crazy how that sets up sometimes. It's who you have confidence in. Matt, obviously, being Matt Williams, the manager of the Nationals, he obviously doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in him right now. And you also wonder, because we don't disclose all the injuries that go out in Major League Baseball, and you wonder if maybe he's saying, hey, I got kind of a tired arm syndrome. If you give me those extra days rest, that'll really, help me out come playoff time. And that's the thing is there's so many underlying factors that we as the public don't know sometimes that that's why you can't always take what the players say and run with it. You sometimes got to use some judgment and realize, hey, maybe somebody's not telling the truth there because, that's just the way it should be. You shouldn't disclose an injury when you're sitting there. I've always believed that if you disclose an injury, it's showing weakness, and that could, give the other team an edge. So it could be something along those lines also. You just don't know. But, yeah, like you said, though, it's just showing if he doesn't have an injury, it is showing that he doesn't have a lot of confidence in him starting him Game 4, though.
Brian Boehringer is our guest. He's a scout for the Arizona Diamondbacks and, of course, pitched for the Yankees and Padres in 2 different World Series. Bo, when you look at the Detroit-Baltimore game, which is the first one out of the box at 4:30 today, I was looking over these two teams, and at first I thought, I think Detroit will sweep them. And then I realized that Verlander is really a shadow of what he used to be, at least this season he is. And that Baltimore bullpen is lights out. If you were managing in the playoffs, would you rather have a 7th, 8th, and 9th like the Orioles have, or the deeper, bigger name Cy Young winning starting rotation?
Oh, I'm definitely a believer in the bullpen. If you look at the Cardinals' last run to the World Series in 11, what won them that World Series was their bullpen. I mean, their starting pitching averaged under 5 innings per, and that's when you and I have talked about that. Salas was by far the MVP of that entire playoff run for the Cardinals to me, because he came in every situation and was lights out. And to me, I'd much rather have that because as a starter, hey, maybe you get us 2 wins, maybe you don't. Even if you pitch well, you're not guaranteed a victory because you never know who you're going to be going up against. And as for Verlander, last year I thought, his stuff was declining also, but he pitched some tough games in the playoffs and looks really good. And he's one of those guys to me, it seems like come crunch time, he's ready to go. Now, he didn't pitch very well against the Cardinals in the World Series, but the other division series he's really pitched well. So he's a guy. I like having good starting pitching, but I think the A's showed you they stacked their starting pitching and kind of laxed on the bullpen a little bit, and we see what happened with them. Their bullpen just killed them the other night, and basically knocked them out of the playoffs. So I'm a guy who I think especially in these short series like this, where you can rest the guys and they can still pitch a lot, I'm a true believer in that the bullpen's going to win you the playoffs.
And Baltimore essentially has two closers in their last 3 innings. They have the one guy who closed earlier for them, and now their closer is their closer in Britain. But when you can throw a former closer in there in the 7th or 8th inning, I like that kind of depth.
Yeah, and come playoffs, like I said, you have more off days, and you'll be able to stretch them out a little bit. So I think you can, instead of getting 7, 8, and 9, I think you can, in some situations, even get 5, 6, 7, and 8 and 9 out of it, depending on the rest they've had in the situation. But to me, that's the key to it. And if you watch, that's why one of the reasons the Yankees won all those World Series is Mariano came in, you knew it was lights out. That was it. So and Baltimore seems to kind of have that setup right now. And you got to hope your starting pitching gets you somewhere where you can get to that setup. Is the only problem with that.
Bo, as the Cardinals get ready to play the Dodgers, Shelby Miller has been named Game 4 starter. But with 2 days off during this 5-game series, if the Cardinals are down 2 games to 1, don't you rethink Wainwright pitching Game 4?
That's what Wainwright, you can tell, has been a little off this year, meaning with his arm strength. And you just wonder what pitching him on 3 days rest or on a short rest like that might do. I think that Shelby's really locked in. I like the way he's locating his fastball, and that's been the whole key to him. And I just think that I'm fine with him pitching Game 4. I'm really a fan of Shelby Miller's. And obviously Mike is also to put him in that situation. So I hope it works out for him. So like I said, he's been a guy who's really learned to locate his fastball, and that's obviously the key for him. And we'll see how it plays out.
I was saying earlier, the Cardinals subtract Beltran and Freese from their playoff roster against the Dodgers last year, and the Dodgers add 2 big hitters. Hanley Ramirez, who, of course, with that broken rib was a non-factor in the series last year, and Matt Kemp, who's come back and is on fire. I'd say advantage Dodgers in those 2 areas.
Yeah, that was the thing is I couldn't believe the Cardinals actually went down in payroll this year instead of trying to go out and find the pieces they thought could help them win the World Series. I know they believed in their farm system and thought their farm system could bring up players that would get them where they needed to be. But I was just kind of curious in that, and that's why people always I laugh at it when they make fun of the Yankees, make fun of the Dodgers, going out and spending money and acting like they're the thing that's wrong with baseball when they're everything that's right about baseball. They're trying to win at all times, and sometimes they feel that it's going out and spending money, and sometimes it's building within. But the Dodgers went out and got what they believed would put them over the top, and we'll find out here in the next few days.
Yeah, and when you look at the Angels and the Royals, you've got a situation there where Vargas pitches against Weaver. They're friends. They went to Long Beach State together. But Weaver is the unquestioned ace of the Angels now that they lost their top pitcher. And they've got a slow-pitch softball lineup. I believe that he'll bat David Freese 5th. Freese really caught fire when Socha moved him up in the lineup, driving in runs, hitting home runs, and hitting for a higher average. And with Hamilton missing 21 out of 22 games, I've heard reports out of L.A. that Hamilton will hit 7th tonight and that Freese will be in that 5th spot.
Yeah, sometimes it's all a confidence factor, and that's why I've heard you talk on your show about how these managers sometimes like to really switch up their lineups a lot and how that can distract from the player themselves. And I'm a true believer, as you are, in that can really be a distraction. And a lot of times it's just confidence in saying, wow, man, I'm hitting fifth. Sometimes it may be just the feeling of, I'm going to see better pitches up here. I may see more fastballs, whatever it may be. And for Socha to find out what Freeze's comfort level was and put him in that situation, that's just, good managing right there. And that's what you like to see. And that's why, like we talked about earlier, there's some bad managing in that Kansas City-Oakland game, and we're hoping that's not a trend here throughout the playoffs. Because that was to me, that was almost a disgrace to watch at times, and that you're putting players in positions they've never been in their entire lives. But I understand it's playoff time, and everybody says, "Oh, well, you got to cream right to the top." Well, sometimes you got to make sure you have the right recipe so that the cream is rising to the top. So, yeah, for Mike Socha to do that for Freezer was just a tremendous move, and it's worked out great. And as we both hope Freezer just keeps hitting, keeps getting his team where it needs to be.
Yeah, I just think it's exciting to watch him play in the postseason. And when you're giving him that oomph of batting him fifth instead of languishing down there around seventh, this guy, I think when the biggest spotlight is on and there's runners in scoring position is when he simply shines. And we'll see if that happens. We'll get our first chance tonight in that Vargas-Weaver matchup. But Scherzer-Tillman go out first. How do you see the Detroit-Baltimore series, Bo? Who you picking?
I can't see how Anaheim can lose. My thing is they have guys in their back end of their bullpen. They're so tough, along with Kansas City. But I think Anaheim has the starting pitching to get them to those guys. Whereas I think Kansas City, just a little short on starting pitching right now. I mean, I don't know if those guys are going to be able to get them to the sixth inning with giving up only one run. Whereas I think Anaheim has those horses that can get them there. And Jason Grilli has really turned his career around since he was in Pittsburgh to start this season. Now he's in Anaheim, and he's really throwing the ball well. And I think he's really solidified that bullpen, especially come playoff time when you're hopefully only going to need the last 3 or 4 innings taken care of.
How about Detroit-Baltimore? Who wins that series?
I mean, to me, Detroit just has no bullpen. And as we talked earlier, Baltimore has a very nice bullpen. And Baltimore relies on the home run is the only thing, but so does Detroit pretty much does also. And they both have some really nice hitters. And I just don't see – the only thing I was thinking about today is that Detroit has what I call the due factor, in that they're due to win sooner or later, because it just seems like that they've been the bridesmaid way too much with good teams. But I would pick Baltimore, but as we both know how baseball goes, you never know.
How about the National League? Giants go to Washington for Game 1. That series is going to be hotly contested.
Yeah, I saw just watching the Giants last night. So many quality at bats, obviously quality pitching, and they make very few mistakes. And they have a manager who's been there before, and you have Matt Williams, who I have a lot of respect for. His first playoff run as a manager, and you kind of get curious on how he's going to do it. So I know this sounds crazy, but right now, just watching the swagger that the Giants had, I would take them over the Nationals, even though I think the Nationals have the better team. I just think that the Giants have the it factor going right now.
I like it. How about Cardinals-Dodgers? Obviously, the Dodgers, the favorites coming in with their pitching and their lineup.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Game 3, to me, I think is going to be a pivotal game, which obviously anybody could say that. But I'm just curious to see how Dodger pitching is going to come out for that game, because they have a guy who's coming off a rehab pretty much and going straight into a playoff game. I think if the Cardinals can jump on him, I mean, even if they're down 2-0, come out and jump on him, that can really change the momentum of a series. So that's kind of my viewpoint is that Game 3 is going to be the most pivotal game. But I think they're two pretty well-matched teams. Obviously, you're going to give the offensive edge to the Dodgers. As we both know, the Cardinals have kind of struggled to score runs in bunches this year. And, that's kind of how you take your pressure off your pitching, is score runs in bunches right now. But, it's that time of year when you've got to throw quality at bats up there, get runners on and try and move them over and score them. And that's the one thing. I think Cardinals may have a little more little ball in them that can get them over the hump offensively. And I also believe in their bullpen a little better. But, man, if you got to face Kershaw a couple times, it's just a tough thing to go up against.
Tough assignment. Bo, great stuff. We appreciate it as always. Thanks for the visit. We'll keep an eye on all these games, and we'll talk next week.
All righty. Sounds good, King.
Thank you. That's Brian Boehringer. He is a scout for the Arizona Diamondbacks, formerly pitched for the Yankees in the World Series and the Padres in another World Series. And we'll be back with the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court live from the Tilted Kilt right after this.
Hello from Blinds Unlimited. Can you feel it? Summer's here. It's the perfect time for sprucing up your home with custom-made window treatments. Energy-efficient blinds can make a big difference in the cost of cooling your home. Call Mike Guest at Blinds Unlimited, 618-660-7289. Serving the St. Louis community with honesty and integrity for over 17 years. Blinds Unlimited, 618-660-7289.
Did you know October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month? 24 people per minute experience this type of violence in the U.S. Safe Connections is here to help. We offer free, specialized counseling and support groups to those hurt by abuse or rape. Call for an assessment today at 314-646-7500, extension 118. Again, that's 646-7500, extension 118. For 24-hour support, call our crisis helpline at 314-531-2003.
In the sports world, a good offense starts with a good defense. The professionals at Lakeside Roofing believe in this same motto for your roof. Our full-time service department provides the defense to ensure that you get the most out of your roof system. A regular schedule of roof assessment and maintenance will ensure that your roof will hold up to harsh environment, particularly spring wind and hail, as well as the overall aging process. Included in the inspection is a personalized preventive maintenance program specific to your roof system. This defensive strategy can extend the life of your commercial or residential roof for many years. Choose the winning team of professionals at Lakeside Roofing. We're a family-owned business that has built a solid reputation for excellent service from the initial call to the completed job. Call us today at 618-344-2800 or 314-241-5253. Or visit us on the web at lakesideroofing.com. That's lakesideroofing.com. Choose experience. Choose Lakeside.
You made it way, way up here. Everybody's invited, but there's only one way up. Pinnacle Vodka. Welcome to the top. It's not velvet rope and reserved for total soup bags. You can feel it, touch it, taste it. We saved you a seat at the bar of infinite possibility. Up here, anything can happen. Pinnacle Vodka. It's more fun on top.
Ray's Excavation right here in St. Louis takes this time out to remind everyone that each year breast cancer claims over 350,000 lives. So schedule your checkup today. That's Ray's Excavation, the greater St. Louis area's #1 excavating pros. From residential to commercial, call a name that prides itself in quality and dependable service. 618-954-6668. That's Ray's Excavating, helping to win the battle against breast cancer.
590 KFNS, Wood River, St. Louis. Sports Talk Radio.
Did you know October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month? 24 people per minute experience this type of violence in the U.S. Safe Connections is here to help. We offer free, specialized counseling and support groups to those hurt by abuse or rape. Call for an assessment today at 314-646-7500, extension 118. Again, that's 646-7500, extension 118. For 24-hour support, call our crisis helpline at 314-531-2003.
Hot Shots in Arnold and now Webster Groves is the place for all the games all the time. Hot Shots in Arnold and Webster Groves is your place for all your upcoming NFL action and, of course, our Redbirds. NASCAR is in full swing, and now is the time to form your fantasy football leagues, and Hot Shots is the perfect meeting place. Hot Shots has the best food and drink specials to make the games as fun as being there. Looking for a perfect place for lunch? Well, Hot Shots will get you in and back to work fast after a fantastic lunch. Get caught up on your sports while you have a great view of the beautiful servers as well as the games. It's always a party every day at Hot Shots in Arnold and Webster Groves. Hot Shots gives you every reason to hang out and enjoy yourself with golden tea, bags, beer pong, foosball, darts, and all kinds of other games. Hot Shots in Arnold and Webster Groves has the game on 30 large HD TVs and the massive 105-inch screen, so you always have the best view. Hot Shots in Webster Groves at Watson and Laclede Station Road. Hot Shots in Arnold is at 131 Arnold Crossroads Center, close to 55 and Jeffco Roads. Hot Shots in Arnold or Webster Groves, all the games, all the time.
I'm Kathy Cutis, part of the fourth generation of the Tom Cutis family. The Cutis family is here to personally guarantee that when the time arrives for funeral arrangements, no one will be pressured to make decisions that would not fit your family needs. Our trained, licensed funeral directors will answer your questions and you make the decisions. If you feel you are in a situation that does not give you the time to decide what is best for your family, you are in the wrong place. Contact Cutis Funeral Homes, affordability with dignity for over 100 years.
It's the largest indoor yard sale coming to Belle Claire Fairgrounds October 10th and 11th. Over 500 tables indoors and all under one roof. If you want to beat the crowd and get a sneak peek and buy the bargains, Friday the 10th, there's an early bird fee of $5 from 4 to 7. Saturday the 10th, it is free admission from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. That's the largest indoor yard sale at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds October 10th and 11th in Belleville. Call 618-233-0052 or go to b-cfairgrounds.net.
If you're looking to get motivated and in shape, check out the Pink Muscle Fest at the St. Charles Convention Center Saturday, October 4th to benefit breast cancer research and awareness. You will see the most fit people in the area compete in many different classes, which will motivate and entertain you all at the same time. The Pink Muscle Show has pre-judging at 10 a.m. and the finals start at 6. This is a national physique qualifier, so the level of competitors in each category will be amazing. Tickets available at the door or check out their Facebook page, Pink Muscle Fest. You will see bodybuilding, fitness, figure, physique, bikini classes, along with masters, teens, plus wheelchair. The commitment and level of fitness will amaze, motivate, and have you wanting more, all while benefiting breast cancer research and awareness. The Pink Muscle Fest is at the St. Charles Convention Center, Saturday, October 4th. Don't miss it.
When you need work done on your home, who do you call? A big major contractor? Some no-name guy with a sign on his truck? Or a locally owned business with 21 years experience in the area you can trust? CBS Construction will come out and give you a free estimate for the job you want done. Specializing in roofs and exteriors, CBS Construction can make the home improvement process easy and a finished product you can trust and be proud of. Call 314-723-0177 today. That's 314-723-0177.
You made it way, way up here. Everybody's invited, but there's only one way up. Pinnacle Vodka. Welcome to the top. It's not velvet rope and reserved for total soup bags. You can feel it, touch it, taste it. We saved you a seat at the bar of infinite possibility. Up here, anything can happen. Pinnacle Vodka. It's more fun on top.
Now, all rise. You're in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court on 590 The Man.
And we welcome you back in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court, live from the Tilted Kilt in St. Charles. Get in here fast because the rain is about to hit again. And the playoff game between Detroit and Baltimore begins in about 35 minutes. And it'll be on most of the 45 flat-screen HD TVs here. Then, of course, you've got college football, NFL football, and a second playoff game, all hosted by the wonderful Tilted Kilt Girls, and all kinds of specials going on as well. Happy hour from 3 to 6, and again from 9 until midnight. That's every night. But it's a lot of fun here at the Tilted Kilt, Highway 94 and Country Club Plaza in St. Charles. Hey, our good friends at Window World, with all this rain again, you may have leaking windows. Give them a call. The original $189 window guys, 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. 12 months, same as cash. 12 months free financing with approved credit. Can't beat that. All Window World windows, all of them, come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And they use double-strength glass. That's how they can offer that. Any size, wide vinyl, double-hung windows, just $189 from Window World. A-plus from the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List. Second year in a row, they voted number one by J.D. Power and Associates in their industry. It's a very rare feat. Over 40,000 homes in our area, serviced by Window World to improve the look and thermal efficiency of those homes. You can't go wrong, folks. Window World, simply the best for less. 314-993-1800. The original $189 window guys. Here's an interesting story. You know, we talk about the NFL and how much bull crap comes out of their office, and it's almost all bull crap. It's so thick you could cut it with a machete. Roger Goodell talking out of both sides of his mouth, a guy I used to have a lot of respect for, but performed so poorly at that news conference, trying to dig himself out of a hole. It's not even funny. But their NFL deal, their television deal with DirecTV went from $1 billion to $1.5 billion, and they're getting ready to sign that. So that's why the owners love him. That's $500 million to split that he got them again. But here's the funny part of this league. They will say one thing and do another almost every time. The NFL Officials Union is criticizing the league now. They say the NFL has caused confusion for NFL officials as to what the league does and doesn't want called, and they cite two examples. Redskins' Chris Baker received a 15-yard penalty for a hit on Eagles quarterback Nick Foles in September. And just as we all saw Monday night, Chiefs safety Hussein Abdullah got a 15-yard penalty for going to his knees to celebrate a pick six for him. He had actually gone to his knees to pray as a Muslim. That is exempted from celebration penalties. So if you look at it, the officials got it wrong, although how are they to no intent? And yet the NFL, while publicly criticizing the officials and saying they got it wrong, when they graded the officials, they gave them a correct grade on the call.
Never mind.
And the same thing for the hit by Chris Baker. He received the 15-yard penalty and was ejected from the game by the game officials, and yet the NFL graded it as a correct call, even though they publicly criticized both calls. So the NFL getting busted by their own referees association. That's never a good thing. 314-399-8923. 399-8923 if you want to weigh in with us. Are you concerned about the Cardinals leaving Segrist out of their bullpen? He was a key cog in their run to the World Series last year, as was Waka. Both have been injured this year. Neither have pitched well since they came back. Yadier Molina, of course, is a different breed. He hasn't done much since he came back, but he's a little more valuable than just hitting. My concern is, who do you have hitting around Holiday? Holiday's used to, in the postseason as a Cardinal, having the likes of Beltran, Freese, Pujols, Craig, Berkman hitting around him. And with all of that talent hitting around him, all of that postseason success hitting around him, he's managed only a .249 average in the postseason in 48 games as a Cardinal. 7 home runs, 8 RBIs. 7 home runs, 8 doubles, 23 RBIs in 48 games, and a .222 average with runners in scoring position. This is why Cardinal fans and fans everywhere don't think much of Holiday. He doesn't tough it out, misses Game 7 of the 2011 World Series with a sore pinky finger. Who does that? So people can talk about Holiday during the regular season all they want. $17 million a year, you better perform at a much higher rate in the postseason than he does. He's had some moments, I would think so, in 48 games, If you're good enough to be paid $17 million a year, you better have some moments. Big home run in Game 4 in Pittsburgh last year to support Michael Wacha. He hit it early in the game, a 2-run homer. Wacha made it stand up. But when push comes to shove and the game's on the line, Holiday's nowhere to be found in the postseason. He better be found this year because he doesn't have the kind of protection in the lineup that he's had in recent postseasons. And as I said, even with all of that success by those guys around him in the postseason, he still didn't perform very well. Maybe he'll thrive as the guy. He'll get his chance starting Friday night. Another NFL football player being investigated on sexual assault. Spillman of the Cowboys. He's a defensive back. Played in their game against the Rams, even though the day before he is being allegedly charged, not charged, but allegedly accused, C.J. Spillman is, of being involved in a sexual assault at the Gaylord Hotel in Texas, where some Cowboy players stay while they're looking for a place to live, and just before they left for St. Louis. Now, he has neither been charged nor arrested. They're just allegations and accusations at this point. And he's been completely cooperative, according to the police. So Jason Garrett has said that he will be allowed to practice and play and do everything that everybody else can do, absent a charge or an arrest. And as Jason Garrett points out, that's the definition of due process. There has to be a charge or an arrest made, and then due process begins, and he's exactly correct. While I'm a big believer in due process, we're not even at that stage yet. Now, I think it'll be interesting if he does get charged or if he is arrested, because Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones' son, spoke at a Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce Leaders in Business luncheon just a few days ago and said, I think our head coach as well as our organization have been very clear with our players on domestic violence. If you're involved and have this type of issue, you're going to be accountable. It means that you will not play. Due process is not enough now. Interesting. But I think even he sees the value in waiting until there's either an arrest or a charge. All right, JoJo is up first. Welcome to the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gateway Buick GMC Kings Court. JoJo, how are you?
I'm doing well, Kevin. Thank you. I got a couple of things on the Cardinals. I wanted you to clear something up because I strongly disagreed with a statement you made earlier. Hypothetically, if the Cardinals are down 2-1, why would you even consider Wainwright for Game 4?
Because with 2 days off, he'll have enough rest to pitch.
Okay, here's the thing that you're failing to consider. I'm all for pitching a guy on 3 days rest if you need a win. However, they need 2 wins. So put him in Game 7, Game 5, and put Miller in Game 4. You ask that you need 2 games, so the thought process on 3 or 4 days has to be based on that factor. If Wainwright's in a deciding game, I'm all for it. But hell no, not in Game 4.
I couldn't disagree with that any more than I do. And no, I did not fail to consider that. I understand they need 4 or they need 2. But you need 1 to get to Game 5. And if you don't go with your best in that situation, you may be looking back on that for a long, long time. Because if it were me, and let's just see how this adds up. The Cardinals play Friday and Saturday. They take Sunday off. So he pitches Friday. He then has Saturday and Sunday and Monday. That's 3 days off. They play Monday and Tuesday. So that's 5 days off. So he'd have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. And then Tuesday would be Game 4. Game 4. So he would have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, 3 days rest. And then I would come back with Lance Lynn on 3 days rest. I guess I don't have the confidence in Shelby Miller that other people have. Who would you rather pitch? Adam Wainwright on 3 days and Lance Lynn on 3 days, or Shelby Miller on regular rest?
Okay, those are two different arguments. If there's
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Miller,
Nope. That is the exact argument. Would you rather have Wainwright on 3 days rest and Lynn on 3 days rest than Shelby Miller on extra rest?
Respect my authority.
I would rather have both Miller on his regular rest for game 4 and Wainwright on regular rest for game 5. I would not skip Miller in that situation and put two guys in a position where they haven't done it all year.